Sorry, I have a lot of screens here. Okay, so today I chose Crowdmark for the very brief tech talk, and I think that was a really good choice since I noticed it was mentioned a few times. And for those who are not familiar, this will be a nice, very brief overview of what that tool is. So Crowdmark is a collaborative online grading platform. It has two assessment types that can be used in pre-pandemic world. The administered assessment type was used quite often for many of you teaching large classes. I actually know some of you quite well because I worked with you in scanning your Crowdmark exams. So these were in-person final exams that were written in the Curry Jammer in the field house that were scanned and pulled into the Crowdmark platform where they were then graded. But now that we're in a remote context, many have started using Crowdmark for the assigned assessment type, which allows you to create online quizzes or exams and other various assignment types like labs and group projects online. So it's fully online now, or for that particular assessment type. And what's really nice about Crowdmark is the grading interface. So it allows students to upload documents to answer certain questions. If it were to be an exam, a student can upload something to answer a question. Maybe they've used an external tool or they've written or drawn something, taken a picture of it. And when the file is uploaded, it can be graded directly into the grading interface, which you can kind of see here. Unlike the quiz tool in my courses, you don't need to download the file. Everything is kind of streamlined and in one place, and you can mark up the file directly in the platform. You can also leave comments, you give them a grade, and that grade is exported to my courses. So a few interesting things about it is it now has that integration with my courses, which is relatively new. So you can do all of your grading in the platform, and by the click of one button, it can be exported back to your gradebook in my courses. It also allows for the creation of multiple versions of an exam or an assessment. It allows for blind grading, and it allows for group or individual submissions. So some benefits to Crowdmark is that it's a real-time saver, which seems to be very important to instructors who are teaching large classes, understandably. Like I said, the functionality is quite similar to the quiz tool in my courses, but the draw for large classes is that streamlined kind of grading interface. So it supports multiple graders or TAs working on different parts of an assessment at the same time. So TAs could be responsible for grading question by question or page by page, which really isn't something that you can do in the same capacity in my courses quizzes. You can also see and manage the amount of time. This was mentioned, I think, too, by one of the presenters today, how much time it takes graders to grade components, and you can manage who is doing what. So just to go back to this previous slide, you can see here these little icons indicate different TAs, and you can see that different TAs can be responsible for different questions. So you can see exactly who's graded what, and you can also see how long it took them. So it took 1 hour and 39 minutes to grade 76% of question 1 of this particular assessment, and 102 exams per hour. So it really gives you that ability to manage time and who's doing what and when. It also allows you to provide quality and rich feedback. So that grading interface allows for graphical annotations. It allows for mathematical notations and comments. And it has the ability to create a comment library, which is a really quick and easy way to flag common errors. So rather than having the grader or the TA having to retype and repeat the same correction over and over, they can just pull from the comment library. And finally, it provides data visualizations of the student's performance performance on each question, and this can be shared with the students if you choose to do so. And as I said before, these scores and these analytics are easily exported back to the My Courses gradebook. So that was just a very quick and brief overview. I know many of you have already used Crowdmark in the pre-pandemic context, so I just wanted to throw the question back to you. If we do have some time, who has used it in the remote kind of scenario, what's worked for you, and maybe what hasn't worked for you? So I'm going to stop sharing. Do we want to just pick on the hands up, Gary?
Yeah, I think that it was great to start with, and it's getting better every year. This year, they really established this sort of shared comment library. So I could go into my exam and create rubric comments, point deductions, scores, etc., and then share that with the TA who was grading the question so they could then apply it. Then after the exam was graded, you could filter the exams on the basis of specific comments and say, okay, well, show me which exams got this ding. And then you could review those to see if that had been fairly applied. I was also created a request review from the prof comment so that when TAs encounter difficult to judge questions, they just flagged it. And then I could go in after the fact and say, show me all of the ones that needed flagging. And I never had to get like lists of booklet numbers from the TAs or something like this. They would just flag while grading, and then I could just go in and I would have to grade like, 10 or 15, questions per TA that were peculiar. And then the other great thing that was really helpful is that now you can adjust the penalties for specific rubric remarks after the fact, which wasn't always the case before. So I would start sometimes with a really severe penalty for a particular mistake. And then I'd look at the grade distribution and I'd go, oops, like that's too rough. And so then you could lighten the penalties for specific comments, and you could, make sure your grade distribution wasn't going to cause a mutiny. Although I still had plenty of mutinies last semester because there's only so much you can do. And but the ability to manage this rubric library, to edit it after the fact, to filter by it, to search by it is just tremendously powerful for quality control on the back end of what the TAs or graders do, because I definitely struggled with grader error and TA grading error, and regrade requests and appeals was one of the biggest headaches that I was managing. And the ability to sort and filter by comments really helped me out with that a lot. That's all.
Anne-Marie, you want to jump in?
Yes, I've observed that from a distance with our Bio 111 and 112 final exams, is that when we should give our smart students the opportunity to challenge questions, and since we try not to reuse questions being new questions, there's always more things that our smart students come up with. It's just when we give that chance for students to bring challenges, it kind of bring a whole new avalanche of good challenges that really become another full-time matter to be managed as optimally as possible late into the term. So I don't know if you have strategies to try to optimize or maximize opportunities we give students to challenge, and just so that it adds up so many hours. So how should we deal with this?
Absolutely. I'm just taking a look. It's 12:59. So if anybody has some answers to that, feel free to furiously type them in the chat, or you can send them to us after, and we'll make sure it gets into our resource distribution. So super quick. I just want to share with you the resources that we do have. So I think Jackie will probably put some links in the chat for you, but we do have a resource document made And so you'll see it's a growing thing. So we've got some extra resources for further reading and watching. We also have presenter slides, the tech talk, and then any strategies that come up during these discussions. So right here, just seeing the strategies that came up from session 1, but we'll be adding session 2 underneath. So feel free to check that out. And also, if you've got any feedback for us or any extra comments you want to add in, for example, Anne Mickey's question, you can share your thoughts. We've got a form